usual, Sheriff David Beth, Kenosha County. On April 24th, I received notice from the state of Wisconsin, from DHS, that they were planning on placing 2 sex offenders in the residence right behind me at 32200 Geneva Road, which is Highway 50 in the town of Wheatland. And about a year ago at this time, they tried placing 2 people there, and it's going through court right now. So I'm kind of struggling with the fact that the prior case hasn't even been decided yet, and they want to place 2 other additional people here. The names that we were given were Stephen Schulke, he's out of La Crosse, and Alan Wiedenhoft, he's out of Milwaukee. And I have several issues with this placement here. It's a very rural area. I know it's on Highway 50, but it's a rural area out here. There's a senior couple that live right next door, about 50 feet from the residence. A husband and wife, and that's just to the east. To the west is a young family with a 1 or 2 year old boy, husband and wife. And these are 2, from what I've been told, these are 2 sexual predators. I believe they're both currently housed at Sandridge, which is the facility that deals with sexual predators. And one of the other issues I have is neither one is from Kenosha County. What the legislation tried to do a few years ago was to place these people back in the county that they're from. Neither one of these 2 ever resided, as far as I know, in Kenosha County. One's from La Crosse, one's from Milwaukee. And one of the other parts that I struggle with too is the statutes the state of Wisconsin has makes this residence no longer them able to place a sexual offender here. If it's within 1,500 feet of any kind of park, and one of the parks, it's a bike trail through Kenosha, it goes right past the house, and the other one is the Fox River Water Trail. And we measured it, it's 1,339 feet. So by those findings alone, this house will not work. I sent those findings to our corporation counsel, to the district attorney. The district attorney has forwarded it to the district attorneys of Milwaukee and also La Crosse, saying this would not be an appropriate place. It doesn't fit the requirements for the state of Wisconsin. And so, like in the past, we're going to fight the placement of 2 sexual predators here in Kenosha County, and for several different reasons. The biggest ones is we don't want sexual predators here, but I understand that that's a fight that they have to come back. When they get released from treatment, when they get released from the jail system, the prison system, they have to get released somewhere. And since a year ago, I have reached out to the state of Wisconsin saying, let's cooperate, let's work together to find a solution to situations just like this. I've also met with the sheriffs from across the state. They are dealing with the exact same issue. We are starting to work together to really fight the state of Wisconsin, the placement of these sexual predators. We all know that they have to come back. We understand that. And no matter where you put them, you're going to have a battle. But what we need to do is work with the state of Wisconsin, Department of Health Services, and we need to come up with a place in each and every county that they can put these sexual offenders, the ones that really need to be monitored. I'm not talking about the one that in high school did something they shouldn't have done with a boyfriend or girlfriend. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones that really put the community at risk, and we need to place them someplace that they can be, their rights are not violated. They have the freedom to do whatever the state allows them to do, whatever their probation allows them to do, to get monitored, to be watched, and every single time the state doesn't have to go through this battle, the counties or the towns or the cities don't have to go through this battle, and they've really not, the state itself has not come back. DHS has not come back and said, we're willing to help. They've stuck their head in the sand and they're not willing to do anything except we're going to stuff these people down your throats, we're going to put them where we want to put them, and that's what it boils down to. From my understanding, there's a consortium of attorneys that buy houses. They bought this house a few years ago for, I think it was a foreclosure or whatever it was. It was a pittance amount of money. And from what I'm being told, and I've got no documentation, the state pays huge amounts of monthly rent for this place. The house behind me at this address has been rented out vacant for the last year. The state rents these in advance, trying to place them. The state calls this consortium or people like this vendors, and when we asked in court last time, well, who have you contacted to see if there's some place that'll do it? They hadn't contacted anybody in a very long time because they have these vendors, they have this consortium of attorneys, and there's probably other people too, that go out, they find a place that they believe the state can put them there, they buy it for cheap, and my understanding is this house is probably already paid for by the rent that the state gives them on a monthly basis. So I think the state has to work with counties, sheriff's departments, cities, municipalities. They have to come up with a plan to deal with this in the future, and they have not.
This particular house, he was at 2,500. He was at said that in 2,500.
From what I've just been told, we believe that this house was rented for McGee, who's going through the court case right now, for $2,500 a month. And I don't remember the exact number, but I believe this house was purchased for in the $30,000 range. So really this house was probably paid for in the first year that they rented out. And the research that I've done over the last year is this consortium of mostly attorneys, from what I'm being told. They know the system. They know what they have to find. They go out, they find the spot, they have different business names that they fall under. Their vehicles are leased or purchased by these different businesses. When they go to court, when they appear in court, they don't even say that they're part of the owners of the properties. And I've also been told that they don't do it here in Kenosha. They do it all over the state. They do it in other states. So that's where I think taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin need to come together, push our legislation, push our senators, push our state to work with each and every county to make a facility to hold these people.
Jeff, how are the circumstances in this case different than the McGee case you were about?
I believe with Mr. McGee, I think he was a sexual predator, and I think he sexually assaulted children, if I remember right. I'm not aware, from what I've been told so far about these two, and we're still doing research. One of the offenders they want to place here is before CCAPS, before we could actually do some research to see what his cases were. So we are going out and doing more investigation right now. We're still working on that part to see. We're being told that children did not come into play with these sexual offenses. That's what I'm being told.
Children did not.
That's what I'm being told. With one of them, like I said, we've got no idea. He's actually been in custody, whether it be in prison or in Sandridge, for what I'm being told, a few decades.
There's still a court stay in place to prevent McGee from holding it.
Yes, McGee, yeah, it's still being heard at the state level. And what I was told is McGee was actually placed somewhere else, at another residence somewhere else in the state, and not here.
So what would prevent that proceeding or that court order from applying to this next pair of offenders?
Well, that's what we were kind of waiting for them. The county presented an extremely strong case in not allowing Mr. McGee here. Obviously, it was strong enough that the appellate courts found that there was some credence in the argument, and they've held it for a year. So Mr. McGee, for a year, the county's issue, it's been stayed. It's been held up. So right now, again, the state wants to put 2 more people in here, and we're saying no way. They can't go here. And one of the biggest reasons that we have right now, and I should backtrack a little bit. Some of the arguments that we fought against last year, not proper notification, they did a bait and switch. They told us a sex offender was going to go in here, and then they switched the names of the people. Well, we don't know that they're going to do that, but we've got 2 names this time. We believe that we're going to assume that they're going to put these people in. So a lot of the things that we argued last time, the state the state made sure that they did what they were supposed to do. And one of the things that the state requested us on April 24th is to do an investigation to see if this place fits the requirements for placing sexual offenders. And it doesn't. With the park that's currently located about 1,340 feet away, it clearly states, even in the letter that the state sent me, that was the statute was quoted, and actually in my final report it's quoted in here too, State Statute 980. It says if any public park is within 1,500 feet, you can't place a sexual predator there, a sexual offender there. We've asked that question and we don't. As far as I know, they've not officially been assigned to come here. I think they still have to go through court proceedings and wherever they're coming from. So I do not believe that that has been determined yet.
So what's your next move?
My next move is again, I have no issue reaching out to the state DHS to try to come up with a solution to this. But when they don't really seem to be interested in it, they're going to go through their vendor list that of wherever these consortiums of people come from. And I know there's more than just this house here in Kenosha. I know only about 1.5 miles from me, there's the exact same situation that it isn't owned by someone in our community. It's owned by someone, it's an absentee landlord. And as you can see by the residents behind me, it's not in good shape. It was a cheap house when they bought it a year and a half ago. It has not been kept up. And it appears this group truly doesn't care about where they put people. They find a residence that really just fits their needs. They buy it for dirt cheap, and they rape the state and the taxpayers of Wisconsin for putting these sexual offenders there. And it bothers me to no end.
So you just sort of wait until they decide, or wait until they go through the court proceedings until the actual release date happens, and then what happens? What if they say, no, this is where they're going?
Well, what we're doing now is Corporation Counsel, the district attorney, we just filed the report. The supplement that I gave all of you today with the names on there, this was just released today by our department, along with a longer investigative report to DHS. Let's see, it went to the district attorneys in the appropriate counties, and we already made contact with our local legislators. And I'm also going to make contact with the sheriffs again and say we really need to unite. We really need to, rather than this being rammed down all of our throats in each county, and I know it does. The other sheriff said, well, we've got Kenosha people up by you. And of course I don't want them back. But if these were Kenosha people, I'd have less to say about coming back to Wisconsin. They're not from Kenosha. So our next step, we just did it. We just finished the reports. We're sending it off. We're preparing for taking it to court again and fighting this, and we hope we don't have to, but if we do, all our resources are back in play.
The town wants to make sure that this house comes off the market for them completely off the market. Clearly, they're not even supposed to be at this house. So the town will be fighting as well.
Bill, we have no microphones for you. Are you done with me? Because I'll switch the mics over.
Oh, we're good.
No, you need to hear what you got to say. We just need microphones to hear what you got to say.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying the town will be looking into getting this off the books for them. It's clearly by the sheriff's department's investigation that this house doesn't even qualify by their own state statutes right here. So with that in mind, we'll be working on that on our end too. We want this completely off. If this house was 1,501 feet away, well, now they don't even qualify. So the town will look at, on our end, with our attorneys unfortunately having to spend money, but we're gonna have to do it because we don't want them. We have a nice elderly couple behind me, a nice young couple next to them over there, 100 feet away from me. They don't need this kind of stress, and neither does the town. Thank you.
Bill, let me ask you this real quickly. If the state accepts the Sheriff's Department's investigation and their determination that this house doesn't meet their standards, do you think then you won't have to face this concern anymore?
I'll have to talk to our attorney. I don't have an answer for that. I want it off the market completely. It doesn't fall under state statute, so it shouldn't even be an issue. If we win this case, I would like to follow through that it can never be used again. That would be my goal. Thank you.
And when are you going to
We'll see what happens with the sheriff.
can
What was
you
your
say
name?
spell your name for me?
Say and spell your first and last name.
William
Thank you.
William Glembocki, Glembocki.
Give me your title.
Town chairman.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
If we have any updates, we'll get them to you.
Thank you very much.
Believe me.